for you. So that is Gabriel Agbonlahor. Oh, sorry, the volume was low. So guys, good morning, the viewers of Rokani Media Football. Gabriel Agbonlahor has called for the banning of these 11 Arsenal players because he believes that they are not injured. They are really faking up, and it's something that shouldn't be happening in here for you. The tally has gone to 11. Remember, at first it was obviously were they 10, and there is another one that went ahead to obviously pull out because of injury, and he's like, it shouldn't be the case. Action has to be taken. We obviously going to be breaking this down here onto the Rokani Media Football, and he's telling us that ban them all. That's what Gabriel Agbonlahor is obviously telling us in here onto our beautiful channel. But continue to subscribe because we want to hit 30,000 subscribers in here for you. Now, towards the Carabao Cup finale, we knew Merino was out. Odegaard was out. For Mikel Merino, we all knew to it that he was out, and we don't know when he's obviously going to be coming in through, and I'm going to be running his story very, very soon. The other three players that we anticipated would have gone ahead obviously take action in what we call the Carabao Cup finale. Timber, Eze, and Odegaard, they never showed up on the occasion, and them not showing up on the occasion went ahead to spark off rumors, and rumors that I never went ahead to believe as a person, because you can't tell me that there is a manager who is playing in the finale that can obviously get out his three best players, because Odegaard, Timber, and Eze, these are players that can obviously win you finals because they are really good when it comes onto the ball. So I tell you, the club of Arsenal got those three players out as they were heading into the international break, and these players, Agbonlahor is saying they faked injuries and they shouldn't be in the game of football anymore. You understand? Until the season comes to an end. Then we went ahead, obviously, see another group pulling out. Hinkapie, Zubimendi, Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka, Saliba, Trossard, Gabriel Magalhaes, and now Ben White has gone ahead to join the bandwagon of those players that have gone ahead obviously pull out of the international break. And now, what did Gabi say? I'm talking about Agbonlahor, former Premier League player, played at a club known as what was the name of the club? The club is called Aston Villa, and he was one of the deadliest players that you wouldn't like to obviously come and really come across in there for you. So he said in his own words that if I was part of the Premier League and I was making a decision, I would bring in a new rule. You miss the next Premier League game available if you pull out of the international duty. I tell you something, players will stop pulling out. Playing for your country is an honor. If I'm Harry Kane, I'm speaking about this and saying, come on, guys, let's not go back to what we are doing 4 or 5 years ago, where players are pulling out non-stop. So, what is he suggesting? That because these players pulled out of the international break, if they ever get named in the squad of Arsenal that is going to be playing in, that is going to be hosting Bournemouth, all these players shouldn't be playing the next game. And what is the next game? The next game he's talking about is Arsenal playing away at a club known as Manchester City. You understand? So that is what Gabi Agbonlahor has gone ahead to say. But let me school Gabi a little bit. Now, we've all gone ahead to see FIFA changing the rules and regulations. You understand? A player, even if he's injured towards the international break and is summoned by his national team, what they do is they tell that player to obviously undergo a medical for the national team, or a medical that is being scouted or really being conducted by the responsible people, the physios of the national team. And they have to first confirm that you're 100% injured for them to obviously come up and say, all right, you can now get back to your team. So all I want to let you know is simple. It happened that way because these players were examined by their respective national team physios and they really pulled out. That is it. And even if they really faked injuries and they're like, we are injured, guys, who doesn't want to win the Premier League? Even if you are the national team manager of these players, no need to have them because you have already gone ahead to qualify, and you saw to it that teams that seriously need to qualify used these Arsenal players. For example, Sweden, they had Victor Gyökeres scoring 4 in 2 games, and so Sweden get into the World Cup since 2018. You understand? So this never affected any of the teams that really needed to qualify. But teams that were playing friendly games, they never really got affected. You understand? And look at Riccardo Carafiori. He played for Italy. And so he was there and represented. So it was a well-calculated move from Mikel Arteta. And I think, as I told you earlier, that Mikel Arteta talked to the managers of these national teams and told them, please, look, I'm really having a very good chance of winning the Premier League, but I don't want mayhem to obviously hit my players while participating in the international break. Please, let's not see them pull out like that, but they should come into your camp. And after coming into your camp, they find themselves in a position of really pulling out when they are there. You understand that they've gone ahead with to get injuries. And the likes of Noni Madueke, when they really got a collusion with the player of, what was the team that they really played first? He was like, I'm out, and I'm going back to Arsenal. And Declan Rice and Saka, they reported on duty. The next morning, they were out of the national team and they are like, we are not obviously going to be playing in here. So for me, I find that as something logical, and it was really done very, very well, logically, and it will never affect, it will never at any one point affect the FIFA rules because these players went ahead to obviously pull out. You understand? So let's obviously get to understand what Arsenal is having at hand. They are really fighting to win their first Premier League in 2 decades plus. They last lifted one in the season of 2003-2004, and those are how many years? Those are 22 years since they last lifted a Premier League trophy, and they are really doing the needful to see to it that they obviously fight and really win one. So, Agbonlahor, please, I respect your opinion. Everyone is entitled to his own opinion, but to my case, I don't think that yours really carries water. It doesn't to my side. Now, he added and said, I get it. Arteta is doing everything possible to win these trophies. Their next game of the international break is the FA Cup against Southampton. I'm just not keen on players pulling out of international duty. It's an honor to play for your country. It doesn't sit right with me. So, everyone is entitled to his own opinion. You get? But it's very easy to judge someone when you are not in his shoes. But when you put yourself into Arteta's shoes, can you obviously go ahead and obviously blame him? And Arsenal, they are having 9 points ahead of City. And Arsenal needs to win 4 of those games and draw with City, and the Premier League will be theirs. When you look at the games that we're remaining with, there are 4 games that they are going to be hosting at what we call the Emirates. Bournemouth is one of them. Newcastle is another one, right? Burnley, I think. They're going to be hosting Burnley. And which other side are they going to be hosting at the Emirates? Fulham. So it's Bournemouth, Newcastle, Burnley, and Fulham. I tell you, they can really get those games won at the Emirates. You know, West Ham will be tricky away and Crystal Palace will be tricky away. But if Arsenal wins against Bournemouth and draws with a team known as City, you know, because it will be very hard for Arsenal to obviously collect a win from that side, then Arsenal comes up and obviously Arsenal comes up and obviously plays against Newcastle. They can beat Newcastle at home, you know. All they have to do is to obviously draw with Man City, such that they keep that 9-point lead, not until City goes ahead to play its game in hand. So that's exactly what we've gone ahead to get in through from a side known as Agbonlahor, calling in for the banning of Arsenal players because they've gone ahead to disrespect or dishonor the international break. So the pressure at Arsenal is really huge, and these players are really very understanding. They know that they did the part when their respective countries needed them to qualify for the World Cup. These Arsenal players represented, and some of them, by the way, went ahead to get injured during the international break. Remember Gabriel Magalhaes, Martin Odegaard, Julian Timber, Carafiori Ricaldo. So very many went ahead to get injured while trying to fight, all put their bodies on the line to see their countries qualify for the World Cup. So I don't know why Agbonlahor is obviously coming out and obviously hinting out on this. For me, if this happened when these players had to represent for their national teams and their national teams had to really qualify, hadn't qualified, and Arsenal were like, they're faking injuries, then it would have gone ahead to hold water. But for me, his opinion doesn't hold water, because for those that were needed for their countries to qualify, they stayed there in Victor Gyökeres and Ricaldo Carafiori plus Nogard. But those that were not needed, they never really showed up, you know, and they really pulled out. England had already qualified. So Rice, Saka, and Noni Madueke, they really pulled out. Norway had already qualified, no need of Martin Odegaard. Spain had already qualified, no need of Martin Zubimendi and David Raya. The other guy is Timber. Netherlands had already qualified. Ebelechi Eze, England had already qualified. Talk of which other player? So very many players have come out and pulled out, and I think that's why this man is coming up with such statements. But I want to school Agbonlahor to let him know that it's not things happening the way he needs. But one thing I know is these things are really scripted. And in this era of really getting clicks and trending, you have to obviously get a person like Agbonlahor on TalkSport and make him say his nuisance. Because I've known him for obviously making such stupid opinions. And I think he best suits that character. And when he was a player, he was an aggressive one. I liked his skill set, and he was really a deadly forward for Aston Villa, to an extent that he penalized almost every big team in the Premier League. That is Agbonlahor for you. So he's one of those that you have to look at and really understand where he comes in from, and don't tear him apart like I see most of you are really doing, because that's what he's paid to do. He's paid to say stupid. Cassandra Ben, what is wrong with that man? He's doing his job. That's what I can tell you. He is really doing his job. That's what I can really tell you. Because if he is really understanding, I don't think that he would ever at any one point come up and obviously speak out that bogus in there. Michael Francis, hey Rokani, how are you today? This is Michael Francis watching you from Kulambiro, Kasanachi Sasi, and thanks for giving us updates. For Mr. Rokan David, in my country. All right, thank you very much for watching through. Which players are they going to ban, and is it true just gambling. It was just an opinion being put out by Agbonlahor on TalkSport that for players that get out or withdraw from their international duties, they should get banned. That's what he's really saying. So, and here onto the Rokani Media Football, we are like, we are not obviously going to leave this story to pass. And we had to obviously come and represent to the fullest and really show exactly what we are all about in here onto a beautiful channel known as the Rokani Media Football. But there is nowhere in the world this will happen. And I don't think that he will see it come to pass. It won't. It won't really come to pass. And it is not happening in anywhere in the world. So we do have Richard Fenny. Hey Rokani, good morning, good morning. I'm having Albert Kamwethu says, hey, good morning, bro. Thanks for the show. And anything about Tresoldi? I'm Albert from Chebando. Yeah, I have that story already on the ones that I'm obviously going to be doing today. And I'm going to be doing 2 stories of forwards that Arsenal are interested in. And starting with this striker of Bayer Leverkusen, his agent has also gone ahead to come out and speak, so it's really going to be an interesting story. Then that Tresoldi one will also come on later, but Arsenal is really looking for forward. When you see to it that a club is being linked onto players who play in the same position, that means they are badly in search of players who will obviously add class and quality to their squad into that particular position. So Chizito says they defiled which law? Can you please try elaborate more? And it's an opinion. There is no law, and it's calling for that law to be put in place. That is Agbonlahor, that it should be put in place such that players don't pull out. Such that players don't really pull out. You understand? So, thank you very much for watching through. Rokan David is my name, and I want to let you know that we are doing the needful and obviously trying to feed you well. And I think you don't complain and really pull out the best that you guys can obviously come in here and obviously enjoy. Yeah, he's called Kofana. Thank you, Albert. Thank you, Albert. He's called Kofana. The story is gonna be dropping early this morning, and then we will see the rest. And I tell you, it's really gonna be going down in here onto the beautiful channel known as the Rokani Media Football. And from there, I want to obviously go to Benjamin White, another one who was going to hit to pull out of the England national team. But they are taking us back to the days. You remember those days of the World Cup of 2002, where Ben White pulled out of the national team and went ahead to join Arsenal in London. Now, many of you are asking yourselves, why did he pull out? Why did he pull out? Why did he pull out? Now, I think we've gone to obviously have something and the reason as to why he went ahead to pull out. And it has been brought to us by Daham. And he works on the TalkSport, Now, we are told that he was told this is what happened during the World Cup. The players were told to watch videos of opponents, and they were given videos on their laptops, iPads, whatever it was. He decided not to, they're saying Ben White decided not to, and the England analysts knew because they had the tech, who had and who had not watched the videos. So, he's like, Benjamin White was told to do the needful, and never did he do the needful. You get? So, he never watched those videos, and the video analysts really had technology that would track who has gone ahead to obviously watch these videos and who never went ahead to obviously watch the videos. So in the due course, they were like a scuffle and Ben White went ahead to pull out. Now, I don't exactly what is right and wrong, but I think good enough is that Benjamin White is back onto the national team of England. I think that's what makes perfect sense. But if he never really returned, then it wouldn't have gone ahead to make perfect sense. Now, was an NDA signed, a non-disclosure clause, for this story to take this long to surface? Because indeed, how many years later? 4 years. It happened in December 2022, and we never got the real facts. But having gone ahead to put out this story, I know Benjamin White will obviously hold interviews, and this will be posed to him, and I know he'll come out and really address the issue. One, I see that as something lame. It doesn't hold water. Do you know why? Modern players in the modern game know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Watching clips of the opponents they're obviously going to be facing is the order of the day, and it's not something new to Benjamin White. He has been through it at Brighton, at Arsenal. He has been doing that, and now you tell me that he refused to watch those clips because it doesn't really take long. They might cut out like 30 minutes of the opponents obviously going to be facing, like Benjamin White. He's a right back, you know. They just have to obviously show him clips of the possible left forwards of the opponent's team that is obviously going to be facing. And you tell me he said not watching them? Talk sport. Do you really have a credible source and you can really back up this with unquestionable evidence? That is it. But I don't think that a player like Benjamin White would obviously say no to that and is like, I'm not obviously going to be watching this. Yes, I understand. Players sometimes go stubborn, but that is something easy. You understand? So, we are having Ndiamuhachi. Thanks. I'm watching here in Rwanda. So, Rwanda, how are you, my people who are really watching it through in Rwanda? I just love you and continue putting out those subscriptions. So, guys, is there anything I've not gone ahead to tackle? Because that's the plan I had for you today. But let me try to really drop in something here. Let me drop something in here for you. Because in the next, how many minutes? Let me check. I really want to call it a video. In the next 7 minutes, I want to call it a video and call it quits in here for you. So, all right. All right. But Arsenal is getting back in action, guys, this weekend. And tomorrow, Arsenal is going to be in action. And by the way, I want to see Mikel Arteta hold a press conference for this FA Cup game. That is it. I want to see Mikel Arteta hosting a press conference for this FA Cup game because it's really going to be one of those that are really going to be hugely watched. It's going to be one of those that are really going to be hugely watched. Why? Arsenal players withdrew from international duty. They are back at the club of Arsenal, and them getting back at the club of Arsenal, do you know what it means? It means really a lot, and we are waiting to see how things really pan out for the club of Arsenal. But all in all, it's one of those games that I think Arsenal needs to go there knowing that Southampton is not an easy nut to crack. Let me show you the lineup of Southampton. You know, they are not a nut to crack. And they're obviously playing the championship, if at all I'm not mistaken. And their last game they played, they beat Oxford, you know, by 2-0. When you look at their lineup and the players they really do have, they do have, let me obviously drop this onto your screen such that you guys can watch it. It's not going to be an easy game for the club of Arsenal. I know very many Arsenal fans might call it a walk in the park, But to me, I don't think it's obviously gonna be one. So that is the lineup of Southampton, and I tell you, it won't really change. It won't change. They'll obviously drop it as it is. Now, Peretes in goal, Bree, they're having Manning, Steven, and Hodu Bells, Downs, Fellows, Azaza, Charles. Now, Archer. He really scored some good goals while still in the Premier League, and Larin. So, don't think that it's really going to be an easy game for the club of Arsenal. No way. There is no way it's really going to be an easy one. So, Arsenal fans, please, make sure you obviously get into that game knowing that it can go either sides, and Arteta will need to deploy his full force. I know the second string team of Arsenal might come up and really get the job, but the bench needs to be steady ready, because if things try to go either way, they do have options off the bench that can come up and obviously help the team really survive or really overcome the threat coming in through from a team known as Southampton. But if it doesn't obviously go that way, I tell you, it can really get back in there to obviously spoil your day. But championship teams have no difference with Premier League teams, because you've gone ahead to see very many championship teams get into the Premier League in their first season, not even sign very many players, but come out and obviously become problems to the teams they're obviously facing. So Arsenal needs to obviously know that it's not going to be an easy game, and they need to obviously kill it off early enough, because they know in the midweek on Tuesday they are going to be playing away at Sporting Lisbon. Not so? So I just love it that you guys have gone ahead to obviously log in here, and I love your response. And I do have Albert says, surely I 100% support the ideology of our players faking their injuries if truly they were faked, because we are here this season to win the EPL, nothing else. So we valued EPL more than anything else, I think. Obviously, Arsenal has to come up and obviously win this trophy, because the chance is theirs. And as I've always told you, that next season, it's really going to be hard. If Manchester United qualifies for the Champions League, do you know what is obviously going to be coming up in there? Man United will be having a lot on its plate. They want to bring in two midfielders, and one of those that is assured of coming is Bruno Guimaraes from Newcastle. Casemiro is going to have to obviously tell him, please come and play for Man United. United will strengthen itself to an extent that they'll be competing for the title. Man City, they want to add Pedro Porro or Livramento as the right back, and also add on a player called Elliot Anderson. It's really going to be a very hard team to beat. Liverpool, if they are in a proper shape and obviously getting more signings, they'll be a hard team to beat. And Chelsea, maybe. The teams I'm really assured of are Manchester United and Man City. Plus Arsenal. I think the competition is really going to be tight come next season. So that's why I think Arteta knows it, that he has to do all what it takes to really win this beautiful piece of the Premier League. So, thank you very much for watching through. Rokani David is my name. It has been nice having you onto this channel. And those that have just gone ahead to jet in, I think you can obviously play it back and watch the entire video to where we've gone ahead to obviously come to the beginning of the end of this video. We love you all. This is what we do best onto this channel, and we'll never forsake you as the people who form this channel by bringing you the latest news and information as far as everything is very concerned. So, your thoughts on 11 players to be banned Gabriel Agbonlahor suggests. What do you make about it? Rokani David is here and is finally signing out. It's a 5 fingers out to everyone watching in through. Bye-bye and see you later as we go in for cafe.